Doomdark's Revenge. Is it worth a buy? Let's read the words. There is no words, guys. It's not on Steam. It's on GOG. There's a few words on GOG. This was made by Mike Singleton, who sadly passed away in 2012, I believe. Now, he made Lords of Midnight and one of my all-time favourite games. And then the sequel, which is what I'm going to show you today, Doomdark's Revenge. Now, these two games were a game changer for the gaming industry. I mean, Lords of Midnight was developed on a 48K Spectrum in 1984. It's an open world RPG. And here's the map here. I got this map, not this exact map. I got a map in a magazine back then. I think it was the Crash magazine. And it was in the centre pages, and I mounted it on some cardboard and stuck it on my wall for when me and my next door neighbour, which I'll come to in a minute, played this for thousands and thousands of hours. Each square on this map is a location, and you can view 8 directions from that location and move in any direction you want. Complete open world. There's forests, there's mountains. I'll tell you basically the premise of the game. In Doomdark's Revenge, you play Luxor the Moon Prince, Rotherham the Wise, and Tarathel the Fae. And the plot is Luxor's son Morkan has been taken captured by Shareth the Heartstealer. You kill her dad in the first one, in Lords of Midnight. She starts off in the top left of the map, and you start on the bottom left of the map. And you have to move in each individual person. I think you get about 5 moves, depending on the ground that you're on. Luxor moves well on the plains. Barbarians move well on the hills. And Fae, who are like elves, move well in the forest. All the others don't move well in the other people's zones, if you like. There's dragons, there's skulking, there's wolves, there's tunnels, there's magical stones. There's all kinds of stuff in this world, and it's different every time you play it, except the locations are always the same. There's fortresses with armies of giants, armies of barbarians, armies of Fae, and then there's the Ice Lords at the top. And what you have to do in this world is, and by the way, they all move around independently. They all have their own AI. And you have to go and recruit an army, a massive, massive army. And you can see the armies when you're moving around the map. You see in the distance the flags of the army. And as you get closer, the flags get bigger and bigger. And you just move by pressing a key, and you move closer and closer into the direction that you're pointing at. When you get close to an army, you will meet the leader, and you can approach them to recruit. Now, if they want to join your cause, they will, and you will get control of that person and their army. And you can take that army back to their own fortress. Every army has a fortress, and you can recruit more armies out of your fortress, which they keep regenerating over time. So if you have a big battle, you lose half your forces, get back to your little base and recruit more men to get back to full strength. It's 1,200 or 12,000. I should know this, but I think it's 1,200 men that each army has. And there's a lot of lords out there. You can see all the fortresses on the map. There's a lot of them. And so you end up with a shit ton of troops to command. And I used to play this with my next door neighbour. He always was the barbarians and the giants, and now chose to have the Fae. There was more of them, of the Fae, I believe. So he had 2 factions. Would take turns to sit in the driving seat on my Commodore 64. I didn't have this on the Spectrum. I had this on the Commodore 64. I think it came out in 84 on the Specky, and a year later on the 64. We actually saved up with it. We both didn't have much money, so we saved pocket monies up and stuff in a jar, and it was called the Doom Fund, and we actually took that to a shop, a jar full of coins, tipped them on the counter, and it was $9.95, I remember, and we got yes. But you recruit your army, and then we would all gather on these massive plains north of the Forest of Fangrim, and we would look for the army of Shareth, and you'd have a huge, huge battle up there. You didn't see anything. There's no sound. There's no moving graphics. It's all just stills. But this game was revolutionary. It was a game changer, because what it did was it paved the way for big open world RPGs that we enjoy today. Well, some of them we enjoy today. But it was unheard of back then. It was just unbelievable to be in a forest and be able to look around in the different directions and just move there. I mean, this was just incredible. This is in the days of Manic fucking Miner, guys. You know, this is what Donkey fucking Kong, you know, a 2D side scroller. This is what we were getting back then. This came along and just changed everything. And it inspired generations of games after this. Whenever I look at these big open world RPGs, I always kind of think where it all began. And it began right here in Doomdark's Revenge and Lords of Midnight. They're very similar games, the pair of them, but my favourite was Doomdark's Revenge, and I wish I still had it. But when I sold my Commodore 64, the game went with it, and it went to somebody who didn't fucking appreciate any of it, and it hardly ever got used and probably ended up in a trash bin. I massively regret that, but nothing I can do about it now. It was remade in 2014 by Chris Wilde, so hats off to you, sir, Mr. Chris Wilde. Thank you so much for doing this. So, as I was saying, if you want to play this, you can get it on GOG. I'll put a link in the description of the video. It's a fantastic game. It's really immersive, but you're playing with 48K technology. You have to kind of get that. That's how this game was made by an absolute genius in the gaming industry. So rest in peace, Mike Singleton. You made a cracking set of games that changed gaming forever.